Hello everybody and welcome back to For Real. If you're new around here, we're very happy to have you. It's Wednesday and that means one thing. It's News Moto Day. Before we get started, we'd just like to remind everyone that all of our YouTube earnings go to charities here in Cambodia. We earn money from YouTube AdSense, which pays us for every ad that you watch. So thanks to everyone who sits through them. I know they're tedious. Please like, subscribe and comment, as the more views we get and the more likes we have, the more we can donate to charities here. If you look in the description of this video, you'll see a list of charities that we've been able to support with our YouTube earnings so far, and we're hoping to grow that list as time goes on. As you'd probably expect, the first item on today's agenda for discussion is the COVID update for Cambodia. And unfortunately, a grim milestone was passed today as Cambodia reached 50,000 total cases. And yesterday, Cambodia recorded its highest number of COVID cases for one day, and that figure was 1,130. The kingdom also announced its highest ever daily death total, with 27 deaths yesterday, bringing the total number of deaths attributed to COVID to 602. But in some good news, health officials say they have seen a steady decline in the number of cases in Phnom Penh, and this is due to the government's vaccination drive. The director of the Phnom Penh Municipal Health Department said that the rate of positive COVID-19 cases in the capital has been steadily declining, with between 100 to 200 cases daily, compared to last month when there were 400 to 500 cases each day, and before that there were even more. He said the reason Phnom Penh has seen such a reduced rate of infections is due to the vaccination drive, which has inoculated almost 100% of the capital's population. Also, most people are following the 3 do's and 3 don'ts, which include wearing a face mask, washing your hands, and maintaining social distance. Although the situation in Phnom Penh has eased, there have been large outbreaks in the provinces of Koh Kong, Ratnakiri, Kampong Cham, Takeo, Kampot, Siem Reap, Svay Rieng, and Kep, and also near the border with Thailand. The Health Ministry yesterday has requested that doctors and technicians be trained to administer the COVID-19 vaccinations at provincial health departments to prepare them in advance of the vaccine arriving, so that as soon as it arrives in those provinces, it can be given to people. If the rate of the vaccination is anything like it has been in Phnom Penh, they'll be getting those provinces vaccinated in no time at all. In a recent report from Moody's Analytics, it was seen that Cambodia's rate of vaccination against COVID is at least twice the level of all other ASEAN countries, with the single exception of Singapore, which is pretty amazing. Vaccine administration in Cambodia has reached more than 45% of the adult population. Vaccination rates were around 20% in Laos and Malaysia, and 15% or less in Indonesia, Myanmar, Philippines, Thailand and Vietnam. So in that list, Cambodia is doing really, really well. Unfortunately though, Southeast Asia has been hit the hardest economically, and this same report noted a delayed recovery in domestic spending across the Asia-Pacific region. So when these countries do open up, they will really need the support of international travellers and expats, such as yourselves. So when those borders open, book a ticket and come over. I know there won't be many of you that need much encouragement for that, because so many people are always asking, when do you think the borders are open? When do you think tourist visas will be allowed again? So hopefully, once the vaccinations are rolled out fully, there'll be no time at all wasted and tourist visas will be back and people will be able to come and visit Cambodia once more. Cambodia has spent around 170 million on purchasing vaccines for the 10 million people targeted for vaccinations. It is expected to receive the entire planned 20 million doses of vaccines by the end of August this year. A delegate minister said, "This month we got 5 million doses, that's June. In July we'll receive 5 million more, and in August another 4 million. Cambodia is expected to achieve its target of fully vaccinating the 10 million people in its target group against COVID by October or November this year. I think they originally said it was December, so that's been pushed forward a bit, which is great to see. Cambodia will also consider the vaccination of children, as well as the provision of the 3rd dose, if that becomes necessary. So from here, we go from children to the oldest person in Cambodia. Ho Kam, a 101-year-old Cambodian woman, has become the oldest person in the kingdom to receive a vaccine. The 101-year-old grandmother, who's still in good health, got vaccinated at Chatbuk Secondary School. Even though she's 101 years old, she came to receive her Sinovac vaccine. Reports say she is doing well after the shot. Following a surge in COVID-19 cases in Siem Reap province, provincial authorities yesterday announced the extension of the existing curfew, which goes from 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. and also includes an alcohol ban. The curfew will be in place until the 10th of July now and may be extended further if the number of new cases does not show a marked decrease. Siem Reap has announced the detection of 133 new COVID-19 cases in the last 2 days, with Chik Reng district still remaining a hot zone. In addition to the curfew measures, the authorities have also blocked off 54 houses, including 27 in Pratom village and 27 in Srang Nay commune. This next story may sound far-fetched, but to help with detecting COVID-19, health officials and the Cambodian Mine Action Centre will hand over 10 dogs they are currently training to sniff out COVID in mid-July. These are the first dogs to be used for this purpose in the kingdom, following the successful use of COVID-sniffing dogs in countries such as Russia and Germany. They have said that more dogs will be trained if the first 10 prove to be successful in sniffing out COVID-19. It's a rough job, but someone has to do it. Plenty of possible recruits could be removed from Cambodia's streets and pagodas and trained up to perform this service, but the training manuals are starting to look a bit dog-eared, and the first round of recruits found the trainer to be a little too dogmatic in his approach. So much COVID news. Sorry that it's all a bit dominated by COVID at the moment, but now we have another really heartbreaking story. A man shot a young woman and then killed himself in front of market goers in Stung Treng. According to witnesses, the gunman shot dead a 21-year-old market vendor before turning the gun on himself. Police say that the victim was the ex-girlfriend of the gunman and she had recently become engaged to another man. It appears that the gunman shot the young woman in a fit of jealousy and then killed himself. The body of the victim has been handed over to the family for a traditional funeral. You really have to feel for the victim and her family, plus all of those people at the market who witnessed such a horrible incident. It's extremely sad. In a more uplifting story, Phnom Penh authorities yesterday found nearly 100 unexploded ordnance, or UXOs, left over from the war in a canal in Dangkor district. The UXOs were discovered by the driver of an excavator truck working on the restoration of a canal in the Dangkor commune. He said that while excavating the canal, authorities discovered about 100 unexploded ordnance buried under the mud. The authorities alerted the CMAC deminers to remove them, so it's great that they were found and no one was injured. Now for some more general news. An army officer discovered that no one is above the law when the engagement party he was holding was shut down by authorities for breaching the government's COVID-19 rules on social gatherings. The host, Okbora, a 57-year-old man with a military background and the rank of Lieutenant General, initially refused to close the event down, claiming he was a big player. That's just not okay. Authorities have arrested a man in Phnom Penh who disguised himself in a number of official roles, including policeman, a Ministry of Interior official, and the Deputy Director of the Anti-Drug Crime Department. I'm unsure why he didn't give himself a promotion to Director. Imagine the uniforms in his wardrobe. He's only 22, so maybe he thought that Director was a bit of a stretch. Anyway, the police arrested him and seized a massive inventory of official paraphernalia, including a handgun case, a tactical handgun, 2 gas rifles, 9mm ammunition, a pair of handcuffs, a Motorola radio, 4 firearms, a bulletproof vest, 2 fake National Police cards, 2 fake Criminal Police cards, 1 card-cutting machine, 2 National Police hats, 2 Colonel uniforms, a Lieutenant uniform, 6 National Police uniforms, and 1 vest over the National Police uniform, along with 1 pair of boots. Along with his dress-up chest, they also found fake documents from the Ministry of Interior, the Central Department of Judicial Police, and a large number of criminal departments. Wow, he has been busy, and he's only 22. We're going to move on today into the world of strange, only in Cambodia news stories. The Kandal Provincial Court yesterday charged and detained 5 journalists and a motorbike taxi driver for allegedly attempting to extort $100 from the owner of a coffee shop in exchange for not telling anyone about his online cockfight betting at the shop. The court also charged and jailed the coffee shop owner for his illegal gambling activities. The 5 journalists and the motorcycle taxi driver were charged with blackmail. If convicted, they face 2 to 5 years in prison each. So it works out they were blackmailing the other guy for $16.66 each. The owner of the coffee shop was also charged with illegal gambling operation. If convicted, he also faces 2 to 5 years in prison. Unfortunately, that's all that's in the article. I just can't work out who reported whom. And what were they thinking when they reported it? Very strange. Someone really cocked up. In Siem Reap Provincial Court, a man who has 2 wives was charged and detained for stealing more than $12,000 from his rich second wife who lived in Siem Reap, then giving it to his poorer first wife who was living in the Tubol Kum province. He was arrested and charged with theft with aggravating circumstances and faces up to 5 years in prison if convicted. When his second wife was not at home, he broke into the house and stole money and a gold necklace worth about $13,000 and then gave it to his first wife. It doesn't say if either wife knew about the other or if it's even illegal to have 2 wives in Cambodia. He is pleading insanity. I love this next story, a little nature break. There's a huge national park in Ratnakiri province sandwiched between the Laos and Vietnam borders, and it's called Virachay National Park. It's a rugged and remote area, and in this park, 2 extremely rare animals have recently been caught on camera. The first one is the giant muntjac, also referred to as the large antlered muntjac. This is the first time this animal has been seen in that particular park. And the other animal that they've recently spotted there is the Asiatic golden cat. It's quite a large wild cat, growing up to about 15 kilos in size. Both the giant muntjac and the Asiatic golden cat are critically endangered species. Wonderful that they have been found in a national park. And for our last story, it's an only in Cambodia headline. 3-year-old crashes SUV in Phnom Penh. This is the article. Driving standards may sometimes be perceived as being on the low level in Cambodia, but a 3-year-old girl took poor driving to a whole new level when she managed to crash her parents' Land Cruiser yesterday. The junior driver apparently grabbed the steering wheel of the car while her mother was driving, and the car hit a concrete pole. Luckily for all concerned, no injuries occurred as a result of the crash, and both mother, another young child, and the junior Lewis Hamilton were unhurt. The child was last seen wearing a gold Camry club hat and an evil grin. That's the news for another week. Links to all the stories are down in the description, so you can read them to get more detail if you would like. You'll also find links to all the other channels that we follow. As always, stay safe, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!